Hey besties, it's Lisa Marie. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. And if you've been here before, thank you so much for coming back. I love you guys. I cannot wait to show you what I do with this Dollar Tree apple-shaped sign. It is so cool. And some other DIYs too. Today's part of a fall collab with some of my friends on YouTube. Our host is Liana DIY, and our special guests for this month are Crafty Leanie, A Perfect Place to Start, and Rustic and Lace DIY. In the meantime, let's get started. I've got this apple sign from the Dollar Tree. I'm actually going to use two, and then these two crates that I used in a previous DIY, but I took it apart and use it again. I removed the paper, and now I'm going to use my Rust-Oleum linen white chalk paint. I'm going to paint one coat over the front of the apple. Then I'm going to take my lacquer color chalk paint by Waverly, and I'm going to just paint it, but not like solid. I don't mind if you see the paint strokes because I want to give it a sense of texture. And I'm going to use my water mister, and I'm going to spray down the red. And then I'm going to take my maize color by Waverly, and I'm just going to create highlights like where the pumpkin would shine from when light hits it, so it makes it look like it's actually round and three-dimensional versus one-dimensional. So you just do it up on the top right, on the bottom left, and across like where the stem goes, and that's all I do with that. I'm going to use my burnt umber apple barrel paint to paint the stem. And then I'm going to take a walnut furniture marker from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to go around all of the edges on this apple. The leaf that came with it was metal, so I just took it off and repositioned it and then hot glued it right on. Now I'm going to take the other apple sign. I'm going to use the maize color. I'm going to paint the whole thing. This one I don't need to do white first because it's already a light color. The white just brightens the darker color. Then I'm going to take my fern color and I'm going to go over the apple. And by the way, not all of it's going to show, and that's where you can see I didn't paint the left side. They're going to be like layered on top of each other. So now I'm going to start creating those highlights and contours again. So I'm just going to make the color of like a green apple. Then I'm going to make it darker in the upper right and a little bit darker on the bottom left, and then up at the top by the stem to create that sense of a three-dimensional apple. Super easy to do, by the way. You don't have to be an artist. Now I'm just going to hot glue the red one right on top of the green one where it overlaps. Take the other leaf that came with the other apple, and I'm going to hot glue that in place. So now I'm going to cover the back with some craft paper. I didn't take off the original paper this time. I realized I was going to cover it anyway. I'm just going to hot glue. I'm going to start at the top and lay my craft paper over the top. And then I'm going to go ahead and trim it down a little bit and then do the rest of the glue. And then I can lay the rest of it and just push it down. And then I'm just going to kind of cut around it, but not perfectly yet. I'm going to take my Mod Podge and I'm just going to put that over both of the places on the pumpkins where I painted. So now I'm going to take my two crates that were painted in this kind of brownish color, and I'm going to take that white paint again, and I'm going to go very heavily over it, but not like solid because I want it to look a little bit distressed. I'm going to hot glue the two sides that were already attached in the past back together. I didn't need to paint those. And I didn't paint the back or the inside. I don't mind if the inside is darker. And then I just reinforced the back. That'll all be covered up with craft paper. And now I'm going to hot glue it. Well, I did hot glue it already to the grates. I did that off camera. And there's a gap on the one because of the layered apples. So I cut a little piece of Dollar Tree wood and I just hot glued it in there. Now I'm taking some foam from like a box I got and just cut a couple pieces and put them on each side so that I don't have to fill up the whole crate with the hula skirt from Dollar Tree. I just did a video all about using the hula skirt. You might want to check that out. I'll put a link down in the description box below. And then I got these apples at the Goodwill, and they came with kind of like paper that's shredded. So I end up adding some of that paper too because I like the color. It's kind of more of a brown. So I mix it in with the hula skirt. And I've got this welcome sign. I think I got it at Dollar Tree. I'm not 100%. I'm just going to put some hot glue under a few of the letters here and there and attach that. By the way, those apples are actually candles, but I promise I will not be lighting them. That would be dangerous. Now I'm going to rearrange them. I want to do every other color. I'm going to add a hanger and a little bow. You guys, this one was super easy. What a great idea for those signs. Oh my gosh, I love it. Tell me what you think. If you are enjoying this video and want to see more, definitely hit the subscribe button. I'd love to have you back. For this DIY, I'm going to take 4 wood slices that I got at Hobby Lobby. And they're not all the same sizes. I've got some leaves from a pick, and then I've got 4 different colors of the Waverly chalk paint. There's lacquer, maize, fern, and moss. Now what I'm doing is the first one I'm going to paint red right up to that very edge where you see the bark from the tree, and I did 3 of them that way. And then for the last one, I'm going to take both the fern, I think actually I did the moss color and then the maize on this one. And I'm going to use my mister, I'm going to spray it, and I'm going to create some of those highlights and make it more look like a green apple that has a little bit of the yellow highlights on it. I'm going to do what I did to the bigger apples, but on a much smaller scale and not quite as dramatic. And I'm just blending the colors to get what I think a green apple would look like. They're usually a little brighter than just regular green. Then I'm going to take one of the red apple ones, and I'm going to put some highlights on that as well. So on the right side, a little bit on the left, and then just kind of darken it to make sure it's not overwhelming. I'm not going to do too much on these. And then I'm going to leave the other 2 red ones just as they are. I'm going to take the Burnt Umber by Apple Barrel, and I'm going to go around those edges and just darken where the bark is. I just want to make it look like it's all the same color. So you've just got the apple color and the edges, and I think that looks really cute. Then I'm going to take some Mod Podge. I'm going to cover the tops of all of them. Once that dries, I need to cut my little leaves. I'm going to put 2 leaves on each apple, but I need a place to stick them, and then I've got some little sticks to make stems. So I'm going to get out my drill, and very carefully with my smallest little drill bit, I'm going to drill a very small hole into the top of each apple so I have a place to stick the stem and the little leaves, and I will hot glue them to each of the 4 apples. And the reason I had a couple smaller ones is if you have smaller cups or bottles or whatever, they don't have to be huge to cover the bottom of whatever you're setting on it. And I thought it looked cuter that they were different shapes. I've got this cork sheet from Dollar Tree. I'm going to trace on the back of it the size of each of the little coasters, and I'm going to cut it out, and then I'm going to adhere those to the back of the coasters. And then the last one I just pieced 2 pieces together because I didn't want to waste any, and it worked perfectly to do that. When you put the cork on the back, that's a perfect solution for creating coasters. And then I'm going to trim around the edges with my rotary cutter just to get off any little pieces of cork that might have, hung over. You guys, I love it. This is so cute. I'm going to take some buffalo check or gingham fabric that I found at a thrift store. I'm just going to rip off a strip. If you just cut one little piece and then start to rip, it'll rip right off. And then I'm going to tie it around the 4 coasters and make a little bow. And that's how they can sit when you're not using them. I'm going to put a little dovetail on these just by folding it in half, cutting towards the top, and then I'm just going to make my bow. You guys, I love this one. It's just so cute, and somebody requested that I do some apple DIYs, so that's what today's video is, apple DIYs. And I hope you guys like this one because I really like it. If you are enjoying this video, please stop what you're doing right now and hit the like button. I would really appreciate it, and it tells YouTube to show my video to more people. Thanks. This is another super easy DIY. I'm going to take 7 corks to make a little apple, and I'm going to use the lacquer paint. I'm going to take the corks and just paint solid on the both ends of the little cork, and then I'm going to dry brush all around the sides of it, and you'll see me doing that next. Now I'm going to make 2 of them, so that's why there's so many corks. And then I'll also need a cork for the stem. So there they are, all done. And now I'm going to take 2 of the corks, I'm just going to hot glue them right next to one another. Then I'm going to take 3 corks and hot glue those 3 right next to one another. And then I'm going to take 2 more corks and hot glue the 2 right next to one another. So you'll have 2 stacks of 2 and 1 stack of 3. I'm going to take the stack of 2 and hot glue it to the top of the stack of 3, or should I say they're side by side. Then I'm going to turn that over, and I'm going to hot glue the other set of 2 on the other side of the set of 3, and that makes a cute little apple shape. Then I'm going to take a utility knife. I'm going to cut at an angle on a cork that I have not painted, and I'm going to so I end up with 2 pieces that are cut at an angle. And then I will cut the opposite angle to kind of create like a triangle on the bottom, because that's what's going to attach to the top of the apple. So you see how I put it between the 2 corks at the top. So I'm just going to stick a little my Cricut tool in there so I can paint it with the burnt umber and make a brown stem. And once I get that all painted, I'm going to take that and I'm going to hot glue it right to the top of the apple, and I'll do the same thing on the second apple that I made off camera. And I've got these 2 little leaves that I cut off of a pick, I think it's eucalyptus, and I'm just going to hot glue them right there on top by the stem. And that's it. This could not be easier. These would be so cute on a tiered tray, and I love it. I hope you guys like it too. These were so much fun to make. I really enjoyed it. Thanks for the suggestion. And if you have any others, let me know and I'll see what I can do. I hope you guys enjoyed them as much as I did. If you've come over from one of the other channels, thank you so much and welcome. And I hope you'll consider joining my channel by hitting the subscribe button and turning on the notification bell so you don't miss any of the future content that I make. Don't forget, the playlist is going to be down in my description box. You will not want to miss these amazing creators. Thanks for watching my video. I appreciate it. And you are truly a blessing to me. If you enjoyed this video, I'm going to have some more on the screen. Click on one of those next. And if you go, I'll see you there. Bye.